What's up, everybody? Welcome to Moose Milk Podcast, episode 27. This week, we'll be talking Loki episode 5, and we'll have spoilers for Loki, but also Black Widow, which we won't spoil at all. We know it just came out today, technically, so yeah, no spoilers. We're just going to briefly touch on our opinions and thoughts on it, and yeah, what other, stuff we've been watching, stuff we been doing this week. But yeah, just gonna wait for Matt to join us and then we'll get started. But I'm Ryan. Appreciate everybody joining us, and hope everybody's doing well. I just got my second shot, so I'm not feeling too hot today. No alcohol, no beer, sadly. I slept 14 hours today, so yeah, second shot kicked the shit out of me. But I'm glad I'm fully vaccinated now. Get back to our normal lives here. But yeah, anyway, so I hope everybody's doing well. And if you haven't already, we'd appreciate a follow. I'm just going to get it out of the way at the top. Moose Milk Media, follow here. YouTube channel's in my profile if you want to go over there. And that has all like the back episodes and everything else. Sometimes I stream games, but I haven't done much lately. And at Customs by Matthew to see all his good stuff, making custom action figures, and he's doing some really cool work right now. So definitely throw him a follow if you aren't already. Matt's here, so just gonna wait for his invite, and yeah, we'll get started. There it goes.
Hey man, oh, why is my Bluetooth not connected? God damn it! Just having one of those nights where like fucking everything is sideways. It's fucking irritating.
No, it's all good, buddy. Yeah, like I said before, I'm the most useless person at all this stuff. So
That's funny. Yeah, I'd give up. This thing's fucking useless.
But yeah, how are you?
Products. Fuck, man. So annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can actually hear you today.
That's because I took my earphones out, probably.
Yeah, you're loud and totally. I like it.
It means you get to hear my vibrant bitching about everything.
Yeah, well,
nice at the forefront.
I was just saying up top, like I got my second shot yesterday, and like hit the shit out of me.
Oh, again, eh? Last time it hit you pretty good too, didn't it? Didn't you? Weren't you like for a couple days?
Oh, I was out for a couple of days, and then I got my back muscle seized, so I was out for a week.
Right. I remember that.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that doesn't happen again. Yeah. But man, is my arm so stiff. Oh
that was
my God.
The only thing that happened to me this time. I got mine on Tuesday, and yeah, it was pretty shitty for a couple days. Like my arm was sore, but like that's it. So, but it's funny because when I got it, the lady was like, because like my first one I got AstraZeneca, and this one I got Moderna, and she was like, how was your, it was like a little old lady, she's like, how was your reaction last time? And I was like, it was whatever, right? It was fine. I didn't really, just sore arm. She's like, oh, okay, well, this time I have to tell you that it's probably, there's a good chance that it'll be worse than it was last time, whatever. And I'm just like, lady, like, I'll take a few shitty days if it means I can go back to normal. Like, 100%. Just put the fucking needle in. Like,
5 in. Don't care. You can take one each win in my forehead. Right. Like, I just want normal life. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, I just want to get back to some level of normal.
Yeah, exactly.
I would have really loved to have gone and seen Black Widow at the theater, but
I'm
not going to do it until I'm 2 weeks. Until I'm 2 weeks after my.
They're not even open here.
Oh, they're not? Oh, crazy.
Now, next Friday they'll open.
Cool. Yeah, they've been open here for 3 weeks now, maybe, or something, I think. Yeah. I thought we had been open, but apparently we weren't, so. No,
nothing. You can't do anything indoors right now, really, so.
Yeah. But it seems like it's starting to open up for you guys a bit better, which is nice.
Yeah. We're in like a phase 2 of a 3-step phase, but yeah, next Friday we open to like the last phase of reopening, basically, where things kind of go back to normal and you can go in places and everything like that. So.
Nice. It's weird to go into places to like here. We can go into places here without masks and stuff now. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Sure.
So it's like we still make our employees wear them, but like customers don't have to wear them anymore.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like weird. Like today we went and got some Mexican food and like we parked in an underground parking. You have to cut through Whole Foods to get there. So like when we walked back in, Kate went to go put her mask on. I'm like, we don't need to. Like we can just walk in, right? Like we're just going around the corner and down the stairs. So
yeah.
Like, if I was when we did our shop, we both wore our masks because she still doesn't have her second vaccine, and I'm still fresh. So
right out of the womb.
That's right. How are you?
Other than that, I'm good. I mean, I watched a ton of things this week, so we can jump into that if you want.
Crazy, man. Why don't you start with what you watched this week?
All right. So I finished phase 3 of my rewatch. So that's done. I rewatched everything before Black Widow. So my phase 3 ranking, I'm just going to get it out of the way real quick. Ragnarok, Endgame, Infinity War, Spider-Man Homecoming, Doctor Strange, Civil War, Guardians 2, Ant-Man and the Wasp, and Captain Marvel, Black Panther. I realized I didn't include the second Spider-Man movie. It'd be somewhere in the middle there. Below Homecoming, probably. I think Black Panther is by far the worst movie in the phase, but
I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. I think Captain Marvel probably is to me.
That's my second last. So
Ant-Man and Wasp is probably pretty low for me too, even though I love Paul Rudd. Yeah.
I think Ant-Man and Wasp has funny parts.
Me too.
I didn't remember that movie at all. Like rewatching it,
was like
I didn't even remember. I didn't even know Ghost was in it.
I remember when I rewatched Ant-Man the first time, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I forgot about this movie."
Zero memory of that movie, but Black Panther I think is awful. Like I fell asleep during it again.
I would like to say for the record that I don't hate Black Panther. I actually liked Black Panther. My issue with Black Panther was that it was the same as Iron Man. It was the same as Thor. It was the same as Captain Marvel. It was the same as Ant-Man. It was the same at literally. And we kind of talked about this today, like, formulaic, right? And it's, not to shit on Marvel because, like, if anybody knows me, I'm the farthest thing from an MCU hater, right?
Same.
But, like, it's just, as somebody who's so close to it, like, it's easy to start to see, like, oh, we're doing this again.
Yeah, okay. No, exactly.
Like, I know it works.
We'll dive into that more. Yeah, we'll dive into that more in a bit. But I'll say I also watched What We Do in the Shadows season 1 and 2. Really, really, really good. Really, really funny. If anybody doesn't know, it's there's a movie called What We Do in the Shadows that was directed by Taika Waititi. Really, really funny movie. He's the director of Thor Ragnarok. Same type of humor. Very, very dry.
Super dry.
Yeah, very, very well written, funny movie.
You gotta tell them what it's about, though, because if they don't know, then
it's like basically like a fake documentary about vampires living in the modern day and how they go about their lives. And it's like 3 vampires basically that are roommates and like the like petty things that go on between vampires living in like present day America, or I guess in that movie I think it's Australia. I don't know.
It's so good.
But the show. Oh, they turned it into a show. There's 2 seasons so far. They're working on the 3rd, I believe, right now. And Taika did come back to like I think write some of the episodes, and Jermaine Clement, who stars in the first movie, and from Flight of the Conchords and everything like that, he directs some of the episodes and I think helped write some of the episodes. So really, really same type of humor, really, really funny. Same premise. Vampires living together, and this time it's America, but it's really, really well done. Can't recommend it enough.
Nice.
And,
I need to find that. Yeah. The hardest thing for me is I'm not really like a downloader. Like I don't really download movies and stuff like that. Like so I'm very much I rely on streaming services. So it's like if it's on a streaming service, it's fine because I pretty much have all of them. But it's just
I don't know if it is or not. You'd have to check around.
I'll have to look around and see.
And then I watched A Quiet Place 2.
How was it? Yeah, you said you were
really good.
Shocked.
Really, really good. I really liked it. It's
like it
definitely a first one. It's kind of like a continuation, so it's really hard to like separate the two. Like they kind of just flow together. But
because
it's on par with the first one.
Like literally right after the last one ended.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it has elements of a prequel nature too. So like it kind of shows you how it all kicks off, and then it takes place like directly after the first movie. So. Really, really good. I really recommend it. Cillian Murphy's in it, and Emily Blunt. So, really, really good. But, yeah, other than that, I think that's pretty much all I watched this week. You?
Nice. Yeah.
Oh,
So
and Black Widow.
and Black Widow. We'll talk about
Which
that
I'm going to.
in a minute, right? We're gonna talk about Black Widow quickly first. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So what did I watch? So obviously I watched Black Widow as well. I also watched Loki. But other than that, all I got into this week was the newest season of I Think You Should Leave. Have you ever watched that show?
Okay. I haven't watched it.
It's on Netflix. It's by Craig. I think his name's Craig Robinson, I think. But he used to be a writer on Saturday Night Live, and it's just like, I don't know. Like, I find it really funny. Kate thinks it's like literally the stupidest thing she's ever had to witness. Like, it's just but it's not like smart comedy, right? It's stupid comedy, right? And it's like the first season was like funny, and it's fast. Like, you can literally get through the whole season in like an hour and a half. Like, it's so fast. They're like 15-minute episodes, and there's 6. Yeah, so it's super fast. But yeah, the first season I thought was funnier, but the new season I've watched it twice now, like kind of once actually watching it and then once kind of in the background while I was working on stuff. And yeah, man, it's so fucking funny. Like, it's just so stupid funny, but
I'll check it out.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it. But honestly, Mike, if you get through one episode and you're like, this is so stupid, like, you can just shut it off, because it doesn't, like, it's pretty much one speed, and it's like, this is what he is. And it's weird, because like the first season was very much like him playing this certain kind of character over and over and over. And then the new season is like, it's like now he's gotten his castmates to like play that character. So there's one scene where it's called Tammy Craps, and it's like a little girl's doll that like shits its pants. Like, it's like a commercial for it, but like the girls in the commercial are like talking and saying crazy stuff like he would say. It's like, now it doesn't smell like farts anymore because the guy who farted on it at the factory quit, and they have a chemical to stop it. And it's just like, it's so stupid, right? But it's just like, yeah, man, it's super. I think it's fucking hilarious.
Sounds like,
but it's
Rick and Morty style of like humor, where it's just like completely made up as it goes.
Yeah, maybe a little bit in that sense. Yeah. But I don't know. Check it out. You might think it's fun. Like, you like toilet humor, like kind of stuff like me too, right? And it's like, I like
things that are funny.
Yeah. If
it's funny, I'll laugh. If it's not funny, then
Great. There's a good one on the last thing on the first episode is super funny. Like, he's on a ghost tour and he just starts spurting out like horse cock, and like it's super funny.
I'll check it out.
That's funny. And then that was all I really watched. Unfortunately, I was super behind on shit this week. I was trying to wrap up everything at work so I could leave for vacation, and I still have to pack, and I have to get up really early tomorrow to.
Yeah, no, we'll get through this episode pretty quick. We're just gonna stick to an hour tonight. So So anyway, we'll get into Black Widow.
The Legends figures there, dude. I have a lot.
Yeah, I sure do. A silly amount. What'd you think of Black Widow? Just no spoilers. Just brief overview of what we thought.
I need to be mindful of what I'm saying here. It was fine.
Yeah. Same.
That's fine. I mean, there were some cool action scenes.
Yep. It didn't blow me away. I think it's on par with other Marvel movies. I think that's their biggest problem, is it's very similar to origin stories that you would have seen in other movies, although it's not an origin story really, but it kind of is. It's a bit of both.
Yeah. It at least gives you kind of the background on like how she got to where she is, right? So
yeah, I think if you enjoy like Ant-Man and Captain Marvel and like a few of those movies, I would say it's very on par with those.
Yeah, I agree.
If you have not watched the Marvel TV shows, I will say that the stinger is going to kind of tie into the shows, so you may want to familiarize yourself with the Marvel
Captain, at least Falcon Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I mean, they're setting up a future Disney Plus show, so it's kind of key. So they're very much tying into each other at this point, and so I would say if you have not watched the Disney Plus shows, I mean, I don't know exactly why you're listening to this podcast, because that's mostly what we talk about. But
because we're not spoiling Black Widow today, but we are spoiling Loki episode 5, and I do agree. CF collects. Yelena was literally the best part of that whole. She was so fucking good.
Yep. No spoilers.
Yeah.
Yelena was awesome.
She was a lot of fun. I hope we get to spend more time with that character because super fun.
Yep, like I said, it's not bad. It's fine. It's like a 6.5, 7 out of 10 for me. It's completely fine. It's completely enjoyable.
Yeah.
Did it blow me out of the water? Is it in the top 10? No. It's somewhere down the middle for me. Probably 14th, 15th out of the 24.
Yeah. See, like for me, like I guess the big part of it was like I loved that I was watching a Marvel movie again, which I thought was really great. But yeah, I'm kind of on the same page as it just was there. Like it was just present. And like it's fine. Like I know I've said this a ton of times that we've gotten into the conversations about quality of show, and it's like, you know, with the amount that they're putting out, there's no way that everything is going to be a 10 out of 10. So it's like, you know, we have to be accepting of the fact that we're sometimes going to get stuff that's not going to, you know, push everything to the limit. Like imagine putting out that much content and always having to one-up yourself. It'd be fucking impossible.
No, and you don't get a series that's 24 movies long without some slower dud.
Yeah.
You know, not even duds, but, you know, 7 out of 10s or 6 out of 10s. Like there's room for all of them. And like I said, like there's only maybe 3 of the movies out of the 24 that I think are like not good.
I'm on the same page with you there. Like
like the first 2 Thor movies and Black Panther are probably my lowest 3 movies out of the entire series. So
yeah,
you know,
mine are I would say the first 2 Thor movies for sure.
Yeah, they're weak.
And probably Iron Man 3 too.
Iron Man 2.
I like Iron Man 2 better than I like Iron Man 3. Iron Man 2 is just campy. That's the reason I don't like it.
It's so campy. Very campy.
Yeah. I'm happy that they stepped away from that, like, before they got into that groove too much.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, that's our Black Panther thoughts. We'll spoil it.
Not Black Panther, Black Widow.
Sorry, Black Widow. We'll spoil it in 2 weeks. Next week we'll do the Loki finale, and then the following week we'll do a Black Panther spoiler. Or why do I keep saying Black Panther? This is ridiculous.
We'll do
Black Widow spoiler. Yeah,
we're gonna talk all about Black Panther and how much Ryan likes it, and
it's so boring, man.
Boring. It's visually beautiful. It's so pretty.
It's visually beautiful. But it is boring.
Again, though, we're different. Like, you hate the music. I love the music. I think the music is one of the best things about that movie. Like the soundtrack. It's so fucking cool.
I don't know.
I love the mix of like the tribal like African music to like modern like house music or something. Like it's fucking weird, but it's awesome. I personally love it. I think it's so good.
Yeah, not for me, but that's okay.
Yeah, it is. Different strokes.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of strokes, we had different strokes on this too. On what's it called? Loki. Yeah, I thought it was very, very mediocre. Wow. What
is fine? Nothing happened. Nothing happened.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Nothing happened.
The plot did not move forward in any marginable way except for the very last couple minutes. It was a 40-minute waste of Loki sitting around joking around for 30 minutes of the episode.
We basically got to know all about that lost timeline or whatever it is, wherever they're at. I can't forget. Right. Just so we know, my intentions were 100% to rewatch this episode because I loved it so much, but I just did not have the time, so I could not. But I really wanted to because I really wanted to make sure I had my shit in order for this conversation. And I thought that exactly. I feel like character development did move forward. I feel like we got a lot of growth in Loki's character and our Loki's character, like the Marvel, the MCU version. I thought there was honestly, there were so many fucking Easter eggs in that episode. It was insanely
and that was great.
Enjoyable. Right. Plus, we got to see classic Loki, looking straight out of a comic book, not only with his stupid tights, but even his powers. It's literally ripped out of an early Avengers book. It's so fucking great. It's so great. And I love even the character they gave to the alligator Loki, for something that doesn't even talk. Man, if I don't get an alligator Loki figure, I'm going to be so fucking pissed off. Seriously, I want that. I want that on my shelf without question.
Because the next day, instead of everybody was fuck Grogu, now we have alligator Loki.
I love it.
And it was fine. It was, again, it was a fine episode. It wasn't like I was bored. It wasn't like I was like, oh God, fuck this show. I'm off. I'm done. But like, it didn't do anything wild for me. I was like, okay, good. It doesn't feel like a penultimate episode. It doesn't feel like they're setting up a finale. I have a feeling personally that they again left way too much to happen in the finale, where they're not going to finish this story well. There's going to be a lot of dead ends and hanging plot lines.
I feel like we're in a better place at the second last episode than we were with WandaVision. I don't know if I
feel like we're in the same spot.
Yeah, I don't really. I feel like we still get it. I feel like we've basically lined up to finish it up. So we're, they just got through the last bad guy and now or the second last bad guy, and now they're moving to the last one. They're going to find out. Because the thing is like for comic people, there's a lot of things tying up here that like is kind of signaling for the main villain to be Kang the Conqueror, right? I mean, obviously that's been talked, but like, the Cloud guy, I can't remember his name, it starts with an A.
Goliath.
But yeah. So in the comics, he's generally tied to Kang as well. So I feel like that that's gonna probably show up here pretty quickly. So
I hope so, but I also have a feeling that we're gonna get a cliffhanger ending and not get any major resolutions. Like I don't know how you finish off whatever ends up happening with Loki and Sylvie. What happens to the TVA, what happens to Mobius, what happens to the judge, what happens with whoever is running TVA, if it is Kang, whatever, setting that whole story up, their background, how they got over, like how they started the TVA. Like there's so many things that they need to cover, and I really feel like you're not going to be able to do it in a 40-minute. Maybe the episode's 90 minutes long, and that'd be great. I have a feeling it's going to be another 40-minute episode, and we're going to be like, well, they rushed through 17 plot points to get to Kang, and then it's done. And okay, now we don't know where we're sitting.
Imagine Alligator Loki was the main bad guy.
Great. I mean, it'd be weird.
He picks up the other guy's hands.
Yeah. Well, everybody was calling out Hook in like a lot of the comments. It's how like the alligator bites off his hand and everything. So like,
awesome. Never thought about that.
No, and there was a lot of cool little Easter eggs throughout the episode, but like, I really felt like, the Goliath smoke monster was basically ripped completely out of Lost, like 100%. It was like wild. I'm like, oh my God, it's a smoke monster from Lost. And then it was like, it has eyes and like stuff. So I'm like, okay, they changed it up a little bit, but.
Well, I think that's from the comics. So that might, that's gonna.
Yeah, I guess. But I also like, there was a lot of people saying like I didn't know it was from the comics, but a lot of people were thinking like, is that thing like a prison guard basically, which was protecting whatever's locked inside that castle? Like, so it doesn't escape, or was that protecting the thing inside the castle so that something doesn't attack it and find it?
Good question. Yeah. I saw CF Collects earlier said that he hopes it's not another Loki variant. I do definitely think that is a possibility. Like, so, they've kind of teed this up to kind of say that they'll show up anywhere, right? So, I mean, one of the kickers could always be that Kang himself is a Loki variant in the MCU. He's not, but
yeah. But we all thought that Sylvie wasn't a Loki variant, and like they're clearly making it so it is, right? Like they pretty much made it so she has to be at this point. So clearly they're welcoming playing and changing story, backgrounds and whatever, and that's fine.
I'm good with that at this point because, and honestly, they've been doing that since the beginning,
Sure.
So like,
but
yeah, I'm fine.
I think they also there's a problem with they set up a lot of things in WandaVision, and people were kind of disappointed with the ending. And they set up a lot with Falcon and Winter Soldier, and people were kind of disappointed with the ending. And I have a feeling if it's a Loki variant, people are going to be very disappointed in the finale because everybody's expecting them to introduce Kang. And yeah, if it's just a Loki variant, I think people are going to be very disappointed on the series.
Makes me wonder if they're going to change their approach on week to week. I know week to week keeps people entertained, but I also feel like it creates a lot of grief amongst fans who feel like it should go a certain way, and when it doesn't, it's just like they blow up. Like, I almost wonder if like it's going to get to the point where it's going to be so toxic that they actually decide, you know what, we're just going to drop everything at once.
I think the only reason that they don't is because they want content for Disney Plus. And so they can say, we have a new weekly show every week of the year, or we have a new movie every week of the year. And if they drop this all in one day, then they have
and watch it all and then quit or something too, right?
A 6-week period where nobody's signing in because there's nothing new.
Yeah. I do get it. So
WandaVision was our own fault, like fans overreacting and overthinking things. Yeah, sure. But I also think that fans are going to theorize regardless, and they're so bought in at this point that of course they're going to come up with their own plans and own ideas of what's going on. And I think that's part of the fun of it. But at some point, Disney has to knock it out of the park and give fans what they want. And everybody, is wanting them to set up Fantastic Four and Mutants and X-Men. And if you don't start moving the, game piece towards that, people are going to get fed up with them, being teased forever and not getting anything they want.
But I mean, I also am on board with them taking the slow burn because that's what they've always done and it works. And like, don't get me wrong, I want Mutants more than anything, but I also want to make sure it's done right. I want to make sure it doesn't feel forced. I want to make sure that they're taking their time with introducing it so that it doesn't feel like a DC movie where it's like, hey, did you not care about this guy? Well, here's another 5 people to not give a shit about. We're going to send them all into battle and it's going to end in about 40 minutes and you aren't going to get fucked with anybody.
Yeah, no, and like, it's a deeper topic that we're going to get into in a few weeks.
I was hoping I shit talk DC and I get little hearts on the side.
Yeah. Well, look, I think DC had a major issue, but what I do feel, and I mean, I know this is debatable because most of the DC movies are not good, but they do have a different feel to them and a different, plot way of building plot in each movie. I feel like you can feel they're very differently directed. And yeah, they don't fit together like the MCU does, but I do feel like those movies have a different feel.
I agree with that. From what I've seen.
Yeah, Marvel has a very samey feel with a lot of their stuff. And that's because it's so well organized from a top standpoint of like, these are the plot lines you need to hit because it's building towards X, Y, and Z. I think it's a good and bad thing is I think they run the risk of growing very quickly.
I agree.
So I think they really need to let directors tell the story they want to tell, but they also need to keep tying them in together, but you got to give us something a little different and subvert expectations,
Yeah, I mean, we kind of touched on that a little bit earlier when we were chatting about the whole like, getting stale thing, right? It's just they do risk the risk of like kind of just getting boring because we know the story before we even start kind of thing, right? And it's just but I mean, I don't know, like I'm happy enough with where we've gotten through from, like, to me, like I don't need it to be like a game changer for the MCU at the end of these shows, right? Like WandaVision, it really wasn't, it was pretty it revolved around the people, like the main players, and like, the bigger world probably will never really need to know that, right? And it's like, Falcon Winter Soldier is a little bit different because of kind of the outcome of where Sam ends up at the end, and that's going to obviously change the path for the MCU as we move forward.
Yeah.
But this one, I mean, really, at the end of the day, I'll be happy enough to like have a better understanding of how all this time jumping works, which I feel like we've gotten. And I feel like we'll probably get Mobius on a jet ski, which is exactly what I need to see him off. And
they better make an action figure of that too.
They have an action figure of Mobius, but he doesn't come with the jet ski though. But maybe they will. Maybe they'll do a Riders.
Awesome.
They do like a Riders series. They used to be all guys that came in like motorcycles, and then they all of a sudden put Professor X in there, and I'm like, ooh. I mean, I guess he fits there, but honestly, like, that's a little.
He does, but it's a little too on the nose there. Yeah, maybe give him a horse or something cool. I don't know. Give him one of those sticks that like kids use with the fluffy horse head on the end that they like pretend to ride, but just have that at the front of his wheelchair.
But I will say on the exact same topic of it being similar. So, like CF saying, obviously Ant-Man and Wasp, Captain Marvel, and Far From Home felt very similar writing wise, and I agree, but I would rather have something that feels harmonious as a individual movies. Like I do, it is refreshing to get something different. Like I remember, like I watched a bunch of MCU movies, and then I watched like Days of Future Past because that's one of the X-Men movies that like I actually liked, like I quite like. And I remember watching it, and I was like, wow, this is so different from a Marvel movie. It's just like it's not, it doesn't take itself too it does take itself too seriously, I mean, and it's just like it is dark, and it's just, I don't know, it's not afraid to like be mature, I guess, maybe is what I thought about it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I mean, dark, not even necessarily in tone, just like its color palette. Like, all the Disney movies, Marvel movies are very bright and colorful, and like, just in general, like they have a feeling of like positivity almost amongst them. Where if you watch like the Fox X-Men movies or even the DC movies, they're all very, very dark.
Yeah.
And very
it didn't really change until the last few, right? Like I think they tried to do it with First Class, and then they kind of went backwards with Days of Future Past, and then kind of went that way again as they moved into Apocalypse and Phoenix.
Yeah. I mean the quality of those movies are a whole different discussion, right? But like I think you're right. Like Marvel runs a lot of risks. Now I think hiring a director like, Sam Raimi for Into the Multiverse or Doctor Strange, I think that's an interesting choice. And like the rumors are that it has kind of like a horror tone to it. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Like we haven't seen that kind of movie in the MCU where it could be kind of a darker, more adult tone. The fact that, they're willing to make a Deadpool movie that's rated R shows that they're willing to do adult content and still have it included in the MCU. So I think they're kind of learning that like, no, all these movies can't be PG forever and all have the similar plot lines and storylines. They need to start, changing lanes, I guess. And like the fact that Blade, Blade 2, Blade I'm sure is going to be rated R.
Yeah.
So,
they need to do something, but I honestly, I'm not super worried about going into this last episode of Loki. Like I feel like if we find out where Loki ends up landing, like is he going to be back in our world again, like in the MCU world again, or have we like seen the last of that, or are we going to just keep watching him and Sylvie time jump and go place to place, and like maybe that's something we can look like? Because to me, I would keep watching it if they just went back to different spots in the MCU and like fucked shit up, or like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I don't know. It can end in many different ways, right? Like, are they trying to set up a Loki season 2? If so, then yeah, maybe they do set up that they, Loki and Sylvie decide to time jump into different storylines or different things and mess with people or whatever. They could definitely do a whole season on that, and it'd be fine and funny. I don't know if it has like a plot building towards the rest of the MCU, but they could do something like that. Now, if they don't want to do a Loki season 2, maybe the last episode, our Loki dies and Sylvie's our new Loki, and they set her up to be, further into the MCU. Maybe if Kang is the villain, then clearly they're setting it up to him be a bigger part of the MCU. So there's a lot of like stepping stones that they can achieve through the finale. I do think, like I said, they run the risk of leaving too many threads open, and if that's the case, then I think we have to get a Loki season 2 just to resolve some of these storylines.
Yeah, but the thing is with the open threads is that these guys are the king of leaving that stuff open, and then it leaves the opportunity for them to go and do something about it 10 years down the line, right? It's like even when they revisit characters they haven't touched forever. Like remember in Spider-Man Homecoming, or no, the second one. I can't keep
Far From Home.
Remember when like Mysterio starts kind of like giving his whole kind of thing away, and all of a sudden they bring in the dude that was in Iron Man 1, the scientist. I was just like, what the fuck? Like we haven't touched any of this shit for like 11 years. Like it's crazy that we're all of a sudden jumping backwards. And I know that's not really like a plot hole, but what I'm saying is like it leaves a lot of opportunity for them to go back and tell a story based around something that is favorably enjoyed by the fans, right?
No, and I agree. I mean, the fact that they're bringing Abomination into She-Hulk, that movie's what 2008.
Yeah,
they haven't touched on it in 12 years, and now we're 13.
But even that's a good example, right? Like, I remember when we started talking Shang-Chi when we first started doing this podcast, and we were both like, yeah, whatever, looks fine. But like,
totally.
We both had no doubt that it would be okay, but we were both like, whatever. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings. And like now they're tying it back to something else. And as soon as I know they did that before we started doing this, but I remember like as soon as they put and the 10 Rings on the title, I was like, yep, I'm interested. And then we see a trailer and all of a sudden Abomination's in it. And we're like, yep, now we're really interested.
That, and it looks like it has a different feel. It looks like we're getting like a Japanese martial arts movie or Asian martial arts movie where like none of these other movies really have that vibe. Like even like in Endgame when we got the small part of Ronin in Japan or whatever doing like the samurai shit, I was like, oh, this is really cool because they've never done anything like this. Like this is a very different vibe, and I think Shang-Chi could be that, a very different feel. Now, again, it's an origin story. Do they hit the plot points they hit in all these origin stories? I hope not, but that is a risk. But I hope that it has a different feel and a different vibe to it, and they really change up the tone. And like even WandaVision had a different tone. Like it wasn't satisfying at the end, I think, for a lot of people, but you can't tell me it wasn't creative as fuck. Like, I mean, within a sitcom, the 50s, 60s, 70s styles, like all that stuff, like nothing else in the MCU is remotely like that. So
WandaVision, I feel like is one of those things, and I haven't gone back and done this, but I intend to, is one of those things that I feel like watching it week to week is painful because it's just like, there's some episodes that is literally nothing. And then it's just like, but I could imagine that watching it as one fluid piece, like without having to wait, I feel like should be like a lot more enjoyable. So we should talk about these. We started mentioning Easter eggs. We'll talk about the Easter eggs in a minute. Someone said Ronin ship. We'll finish this conversation, but then we'll circle back to that.
I'm way behind on chat for some reason. I wasn't catching up here. So, there's a lot of Easter eggs and a lot of tying into other things, and we can jump into that. That's fine. But we haven't really touched on Loki 5 in any real way, other than my overall feelings on it. I did like seeing all the other Lokis. I did like the touching moments between Loki and Sylvie and like
I actually shed a tear when that happened. I was like, oh my God. It's like,
see, I didn't at all, but
I totally did. It's weird to see him actually care about somebody. It's like, he's just so not.
Yeah, but it's too, I don't know. They've set him up to betray everybody every time. And I still feel like there's something else going on. And I still feel like they're setting it up like for, like, maybe he won't betray Sylvie, but like, still feel like he's out for himself in some regard. And yeah, I don't know. What's going to happen if we find out that the head of the Timekeepers is another Loki? So like, he's just going to want to betray that Loki to become the head of the time. Like, they're just setting it up for another backstabbing of like 17 Lokis,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even if it is another Loki variant, like I feel like at this point, like my main focus is on the main Loki. And like, I feel like his character has gone through a lot this season or this show. Like, I feel like it's a completely different character now. Like, we're starting to see that, it's like kind of been a slow burn over these 5 episodes that he's realized that, his life without anyone in it has no real substance. Like, he's just forever destined to be alone. And then he meets Sylvie and kind of realizes that she's in a similar path, but it's not because she wants to be, it's because she has to be. And it's just interesting to see how he has changed. And even with Mobius, right, the relationship between him and Mobius, it's just like that's why, like, when they reunited this time, I was like, oh yes, awesome. I will say I was disappointed that Mobius bailed, like, basically as soon as he got there.
But that's what I mean is, like, So this last episode, they have to do his storyline of him within the TVA and what he's doing to take it down or burn it to the ground or whatever he says.
Yeah, but I mean, I know it would be nice, but like, really, would the show be that much worse if we didn't find out what happened to Mobius? We just know that he survived through it. Like
yeah,
you can always revisit it.
On a jet ski.
Yeah, I do too. But what if we just see him riding off on a jet ski and then that's it? And then like we don't need to know
that
what
would
he
be
ends up
satisfying.
doing.
I want to see him
then he'll
take down the
roll into
TVA.
his solo Disney Plus show on a jet ski.
I just
Wow.
I don't know. I think they have to do something to finish off his storyline and see him, escape back to the real world or whatever the fuck they want to do with him. I think that like I wouldn't be surprised if the after credit stinger of the last episode is Mobius on a jet ski. Like that.
If we don't get Mobius on a jet ski, then there's no way that we're not getting that. We have to be getting that.
Yeah, no, I don't know. We can touch on all the Easter eggs because there's a ton.
There's so many.
So you showed me earlier today the subway train that is like kind of lodged in the ground, and that everybody's assuming that's from the original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Yes.
Which is wild if that's actually true. Now, like you said, or I guess I kind of said to you, is like, will they ever confirm that or touch on that again? Like, who knows? Like, all these Easter eggs are unconfirmed by, are they intentional or are they just scattered things throughout the world? I would assume they're intentional, but do they confirm it? I don't know.
Yeah. But there was lots of good stuff. We got to see the Thanos copter.
Right.
Do you know what that's from?
I mean, I know of it, but like, I don't know a lot about Thanos really.
In the comic, he gets arrested by the regular police after the helicopter crashes. So good.
That's a good comic right there.
Yeah, so we got Throg, which is
Thor Frog.
Yeah, Thor Frog. That's pretty funny. What else did we get? We got Yellow Jacket's helmet.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Yeah, there's a spot. I can't remember exactly whereabouts it was, but yeah, there's a spot where you can see his helmet on the ground. And apparently, it was confirmed that is apparently coming back for, what was it? I sent it to you, didn't I?
Quantumania.
Was it for the next Ant-Man movie?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And Ronan's ship was in there. What do they call that? I can't remember what it's called right now, but
I don't remember. But yeah, no, I saw that. I mean, we saw Avengers Tower in the background at the beginning scene there. I'm trying to think of all the other things there, but there was a lot. I mean, even old Loki making like Asgard as an illusion.
Yeah, that was so cool.
Cool. Yeah.
I also thought another thing that was cool about old Loki was how he talked about how he like got away from Thanos when Thanos kills Loki in like the regular timeline, like in the main timeline, and how he said, "Oh yeah, I just like casted a projection. It was so good, it even tricked Thanos." And he's like, and then I just waited for the ship to kind of break apart, and I just floated into space, kind of thing, right?
As an inanimate object.
Like so, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I fucking love that.
No, I think it's cool to see that like the Thanos thing happened in all of their timelines, basically. Right?
Yeah.
That was inevitable, regardless. That Thanos was going to be their end or close to it. I don't have any this week. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll hold down the fort.
Yeah, you keep it going. Remember, we're available for commercials. Just pay us, company Bubbly.
Bubbly, please give us free Bubbly
and money.
Oh yeah, that was another thing that was tying it to Kang. CF Collect says on Avengers Tower, instead of saying Stark, it was the name of a corporation Kang uses when he disguises himself as a human, which I did read about that. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, so there's more kind of tying into maybe Kang. I honestly do think, and I mean, I think I've been usually the naysayer when everyone's like, it's gonna be Mr. Fantastic. No, it's not. It's gonna be this. No, it's not. I actually do think this time is going to be Kang. It makes sense for them to start introducing him. Like Ant-Man Quantumania is like, what, 2 years or 3 years away? Now's the time to start making his presence. Nathaniel, yes.
No, I agree. And what do you think they're going to do with the Ravona Renslayer or whatever, the judge? Do you think she's in on it? Do you think she doesn't know who it is?
Yeah, I think she's in on it.
Yeah,
it doesn't make sense to me that she would follow blindly, without knowing what she's doing it for. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Then at the end, it kind of makes it seem like she has no idea what's happening.
She may not know what's happening, but there's no way that her intentions are not to be on that side of it. Like,
right?
She may not for sure know what's happening, but yeah, it's definitely
maybe they haven't met yet, and like they're setting up that she and Kang are like gonna fall in love in the or whatever, be a couple by the end of this. Like, because I kind of felt like she didn't exactly know what was going on. Like, I could tell that she was manipulating Sylvie in those few scenes where like she's talking to Miss Minutes about like the end of the time or whatever.
I was
and
surprised
like
that Sylvie fell for that. She seems way smarter than that.
It's like, oh, we have a spaceship. And I'm like, oh, you're just buying time. Like, there's no way that there's some spaceship that travels through the end void or whatever. So, yeah, I kind of bought into that. But then, like, there's a few times, like, even when she's, like, talking to the timekeeper or the time cop there from the last episode that they have in prison.
Yeah, D15 or B15 or whatever it is.
Whatever her name is. I wish she had a real name, but
let's just call her, I don't know, B15.
Yeah. Sure. She kind of seemed like she didn't know. She was hoping that she would give her more information than she had. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. It could be just a big manipulation and she's just trying to manipulate everybody and get on top. But
that's a good Bootsy saying, is it Bootsy 6?
My friend.
I think Dan. Oh, it's Dan. Hey, Dan. I think it's Ravenna employing another version of herself to see it through. That's kind of a cool theory.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of theories and a lot of things that could be happening, and I don't know.
Did you see that? CF Collect says B-52, she was taken by the TVA after leaving the Love Shack.
Love Shack.
Oh, that's great. Oh, shit.
For some reason, my comments aren't updating, so I have to scroll down or it just doesn't update.
It happens to me sometimes, too. It's really annoying.
Yeah, I don't know why, but so I don't even realize people are commenting, and then all of a sudden you're like 60 comments below me. Yeah, no, I don't know. I just feel like there's so many things they have to finalize in this last episode. They've got her storyline, they've got Mobius' storyline, they have Sylvie's storyline, they have Loki's storyline, they have whatever's in the castle storyline. There's a ton, man. Like, I don't know. I hope it's a long episode. It'd be great.
Be grouped together, and I think a lot of it doesn't need a big explanation, really.
Sure. I don't know. I just think I'm going to be very disappointed if we don't get a lot of it explained, and now we have to wait like a year to get any like resolutions. I don't know. I assume that Sylvie or Loki is going to show up in something else.
Oh yeah,
depending on who survives.
Yeah, sure.
They'll be in one of these future movies.
Well,
I don't know which one.
I think I can't remember if it was Kevin Feige that said it, but somebody said, like, someone from Marvel said that, like, this won't be the last time we see the Loki variants either. From, like, we'll see them outside of the Loki series. They said so.
Yeah, I think that could be part of Quantumania. I think that could be part of into the Spider-Verse. Like, there's so many ways they could incorporate it of like, them showing up in that timeline and then jumping between timelines and then finally getting to the place where all the timelines end and they see all these Lokis chilling around and they're like, what the fuck is this place? And then, bounce out and like, they could do it in any of these movies as like a comedy bit and it only has to be 5-minute scene or whatever.
Yeah, you don't even need to really spend much time with it, right? So, or
the other opposite side is they all escape from this void place and they all re-enter normal everyday world. So then we just have a Loki alligator walking around.
Or, this is my idea, we switch to a sitcom style show called House of Loki, and it's just a house full of
copies.
Yeah. They all wear shirts that just say Loki 1, Loki 2.
If people haven't seen That's the Cosbys, and you can find it on YouTube. It's very inappropriate, but it's very funny from the guy that created Rick and Morty.
It's very, very fun. I didn't know that he did that. Oh, nice. It's what's his name? Dan Harmon?
Dan Harmon's
I fucking love Dan Harmon.
And what's his face? Can't think of the guy's name right now. Justin Roiland.
Yeah, I remember House of Cosby was fucking so funny.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The trailer doesn't drop next week. I'm gonna walk into the sea. Well, that's a bit extreme, but I may enjoy it. I mean, who knows?
I think we're gonna get a Spider-Man trailer next week too. They've been teasing it for like 3 weeks. Like, there's no way it's not coming.
I think it might. I don't know. Maybe part of the theatrical run of Black Widow, I thought maybe it would be like in front of it tonight, but I haven't seen anything that said that it was.
If it was in theaters tonight, we'd already know that A, it was going to be in there, and B, we probably have seen it by now.
Do you think they wait for Shang-Chi then?
No. That's December, man. How have we not gotten a trailer that comes out in December?
Yeah, but Shang-Chi's September, so it's 3 months.
I know, but what I'm saying is if you're going to put your first Spider-Man trailer in front of Shang-Chi, then it's the first trailer comes out in September. That'll be the first we've seen of it. And it comes out in December. It comes out December, whatever.
Yeah. I assume it'll be like Christmas Day or close to it, but
I think it'll be on the next week because they've been teasing it since Tom Holland's birthday. And it's just like every week they make a tease like it's going to come this week and then it doesn't. So like I have a hard time.
Maybe they were just waiting to get Black Widow out of the way.
Yeah. Maybe.
Or they could have it at the end of Loki.
Absolutely. It would make sense too. It's going to be all about jumping around in the timeline. So
they could have that as like a special, like you get to the end of the episode and then there's the Spider-Man trailer.
That'd be dope. That'd be sweet. I'd be into that for sure.
I like things like that, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We're kind of rambling now, but I really don't know where the last episode is going to go, and I kind of like that, but I just have a feeling it's not going to be resolved, and that's kind of disappointing. They have a lot to live up to.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. But like I said, I think if we end up finding out, I feel like we're going to spend a lot of the next episode explaining what the TVA is and how it got to where it did. I feel like that's going to tie up a lot of the loose ends on its own. Like, I feel like if they can go that route, they could probably tie in some kind of closure for Mobius. They can do it for the judge there, the Ravina girl there. They can do it for like introducing a new villain if they're going to do that, and basically giving the history of why he did what he did, and that is enough to basically set us up with Kang. So like when he shows up next, we understand why he's doing what he's doing, and so I do think also we just need to figure out what happens with Loki and Sylvie. And
yeah, you're probably right. I also think, and I thought of this earlier and I meant to say it when we were talking about Easter eggs, but that scene where they show the Sphinx and the pyramid in the background also made me lead to Kang, because apparently he has like the ancestry of Apocalypse, the mutant. And I thought that was kind of an interesting thing that could tie into this somehow is if they do like a Kang background, like origin really quickly at the beginning of the episode or something, like the first 5 minutes, show like where Kang's from or something, and you don't really get it. And then like they show him kind of traveling through time, and he's in ancient Egypt, and like maybe he prunes that timeline or whatever and brings it into the void, and like he knows about the void and then travels through time. I don't know. They could do a lot of things where like that could be easily a setup for like saying, oh, like Apocalypse or bringing that name into it without saying mutants, without saying X-Men, without any of the storyline. Just name dropping that, I think, could be really cool too.
I see that Jesse Rath just popped in. That's pretty fun. Hey,
That's fun.
I was telling him earlier, I said that I'm going to start campaigning for him to be an MCU character so I can make some figures of him. I said, I'm going to campaign for him to be Gambit or Cyclops. That's what I was
going to say. Bring him in as one of the new X-Men.
That'd be sick, man.
Awesome.
That'd be so dope. What CF Clark says, I think next week would be perfect because Loki will be over and everyone will be used to seeing variants, so that could be the jumping off point for Toby and Andrew. That's a really great point. That's a great point. It'd be a lot easier to explain that stuff after it's finished, right?
They go to a different planet of all Spider-Men? No Lokis? That'd be cool.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. Maybe they bring back Spider Pig or whatever from Into the Spider-Verse.
Spider Ham?
Instead of Alligator Loki, we get Spider Pig.
Spider Ham. But yeah, that'd be great.
Spider Ham, whatever it's called. I don't know. I hated that movie. I'm sorry.
What's wrong with you? It's so good.
I hate good things.
That's funny. That's really funny. Yeah, I don't know. I'm super stoked for next week, to be honest. I actually have to say that I'm glad I watched. I wish I would have watched Black Widow before I watched Loki, because I actually thought this episode of Loki was fucking just amazing. And like, once I watched it, I was so geeked up for Black Widow. It probably like set my standards maybe a bit too high. And then I was like, nah.
I think it's their own. Well, honestly, I think if Black Widow would have came out when it was supposed to a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, or whatever the hell it is, I think it would have been probably better than we thought it was now. I think it's the year and a half or 2 years of anticipation for a new movie. I think it's seeing the shows and then this coming after the shows is kind of like, well, this is just kind of the same Marvel we've known, where the shows have kind of had a different feel. And
absolutely. I think that's a huge part of it.
Yeah. If it would have came out when it was supposed to come out, I think people might have been higher on it. But like I said, I'm excited to see where they bring the characters from Black Widow into the future of the MCU. I think that's the most interesting part.
Yeah. I 100% agree. And I do agree with you that, the shows have, for the most part, tried new things. I wouldn't say that necessarily with Falcon and Winter Soldier so much, maybe a little bit, but not really. Like it felt pretty like,
it felt a lot like Winter Soldier though, right? Like it had that espionage spy thing going on for a lot of the series, where if you're gonna follow a trend of the MCU, that's the trend to follow. Because I mean, Winter Soldier is my favorite probably MCU movie. I think it's phenomenal.
Me too. It's really good.
I think that kind of like espionage spy thriller action film is always going to be fun just to watch, regardless if it's, kind of got similar plot points. But like, Loki is weird as shit, right? Like, I mean, it's unlike anything they've ever done before, and I love that. And same with WandaVision. So, having such different vibes and then going back to like a typical MCU Marvel origin story, it was kind of just like, oh, it's not bad.
Here we are again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but that's a good point, though. If it would have come out, it would have probably fared a lot better when it was within its own crowd, right? Like, what, you know what I mean?
Totally.
So I also feel like it's hard to get back into Widow because, like, we already know she's dead. Like, it's just like I feel like it's super hard to like attach to that and be like, I hope she does great here. It's like at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, you're dead, lady. Like,
it's weird to get a character's origin and storyline and build out that character more when we know that they're already gone and probably not going to continue on in the MCU. So, but I think it does help set up other characters within that movie and bring them into the MCU. So I think, there's other characters within the movie, without spoiling anything, that are definitely going to carry on in future things. And so knowing her backstory also helps evolve their backstory,
Yeah, for sure.
But, that's I don't know, that's Loki 5 and Black Widow, I guess. We covered it. I mean, is there anything else you wanted to say?
There probably is. Like I said, I really wish I would have been able to get another watch in on Loki 5. Would have been nice, but I love how quickly Loki has already accepted this world, and it's just like, and then you see Sylvie, and she's like, "Is that an alligator?" It's like, yeah, it's just better not to question it. Just like,
yeah. No, that part did make me laugh, and I love that he's just willing to like roll with anything at this point, and he's always trying to figure out, okay, this is the situation I'm in. How do I come out on top on it? And like, even his whole plot point of like, basically, I'm just going to go up to this smoke monster and shank it. I'm like, that's exactly what Loki would do, but good luck. It's a smoke. Like, I don't know. And they called that out, and it was funny. So
yeah, it is funny how they all laugh at him for like, because it's like, oh yeah, we all say the same shit, and it's like,
well, even when all the Lokis join, and then immediately it all just erupts into backstabbing and manipulation, and it's like, that's what all of them had planned, and that's what they're always going to do. And that's why I can't see our Loki not doing anything different than that in the finale. Like at some point, he's going to try to get out on top.
His ways.
Yeah, I think him and Sylvie will stick together and be a couple. But I also think like, yeah, he's going to try to manipulate the situation to become the next head of the TVA or whatever this, whatever it is.
Yeah. So I'll steal one from the Toy Amigos podcast yesterday. They were talking about Loki, and they were saying, if you met a female version of yourself, would you date them?
I'm a weird, depressed, anxious mess 90% of my life. I don't wish that on anybody. I don't want no.
Let alone yourself.
Two wrongs don't make a good right here. No.
I feel like a female version of me would be like the worst fucking enabler ever. Like I feel like it would just be so bad. It would be so
bad. Nothing would get accomplished because you roll with everything.
Yeah. Imagine two people that were like maybe I should buy like another 15 cabinets of action figures and just fill the whole house with it. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, but it would also be like, hey, like, what do you want to? Do you want dinner? And you'd be like, well, I can do dinner. All right, and then it would just be back and forth of like, well, we should do dinner. And
that's
like,
true. I'm the most indecisive person fucking ever. So
do we smoke first? Yeah, we should do that first for sure. And then it just evolves into
smoke. I'd be like, you're not really me. Get out of here. Get out of here.
I would be interested to see a female version of you though. It'd be something. It'd be something.
Maybe one day.
Definitely not.
In your dreams.
Definitely no. No female Ryans.
No female Ryans? Oh, that's too bad.
No. I don't wish that on anyone.
That's fucking funny.
Anyway, so next week, Loki finale. Following week, Black Widow.
Yep.
Spoiler cast. Following week, MODOK. We're going to watch all 10 episodes and just talk about that. It's not going to be a one by one. Yeah. It's just going to be our overall view of the series.
We just gonna bang them out. Hey, are they already all up or no?
8 of 10, I think.
I might have to start watching them because I don't know if I'll be able to hit all 10 in 1 week. I'm on vacation next week, so I should have some time to sit down and watch some shit at night. So
yeah, I mean, I think they're only like 20-minute episodes. So
perfect.
Yeah,
couple of hours, and I'll bang out the whole thing.
Yeah, I know, exactly. And then the following week, we're going to just have like an open discussion about a few things we've been talking about. And then the following week will be What If. So
What If?
Then we'll get to that.
Hey, we didn't talk about the trailer for What If. I guess it wasn't really a lot. Oh, you didn't?
Don't care.
Looks pretty
I'm
cool.
watching it for the podcast. I honestly don't care about the show.
It looks pretty cool. We got to even hear Chadwick Boseman as Star-Lord. It was very cool.
Oh, he did his voice work before he passed?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's the last thing he did, I think, so.
Awesome.
And there's like a really cool scene with him and Michael Rooker as Yondu, and it's very cool. Looks very cool.
I'll watch it. I'll do it for the pod,
Maybe it'll change the way you think about cartoons. It won't, but maybe.
Probably not. I'm pretty set in my ways.
My ultimate hope is that you all of a sudden fall in love with cartoons, so that way you can watch Star Wars Rebels and we can geek out about it together. I remember when my buddy Alvin first watched it because he was never really into the cartoons. I was like, man, just kind of accept it. Just get into it and take it. And I think once he got in like a little bit into season 1, he was like, oh yeah, this is pretty good. I like it. And when we got like halfway into season 2, he was like, every day we were chatting like, what episode are you on? Okay, yeah, this part's coming up. This is gonna be so sick. When this happens, you're gonna fucking blow your mind. It's gonna blow your mind away.
See, like I love those discussions and I love that excitement. Like when I can get somebody into a show I love like that, like Lost or Breaking Bad or any of those shows, I'm like, yeah, I would rewatch the entire series again with somebody that had never seen it before, just to like see their reactions and like
experience.
Yeah, you're watching it through them for the first time again, which is like my favorite thing.
It is fun. It's very fun.
Yeah, but the animated thing I just can't get into, man.
No, not your thing. I get it.
Anyway, so that's the plan for the next 3 or 4 weeks there, and then, or I guess more than that. because then we get into What If, and that will lead into Shang-Chi, and away we go. We're into the rest of the year.
Right.
So
And we're gonna have a live session whenever I come home. I'm still trying to figure out when I'm coming home, by the way, because my mom's hasn't made her mind up on when she's coming here. So
yeah, no, I mean, tell me when you come home, and maybe I can plan a vacation for at least that week or whatever.
I will. I was thinking about if she's coming later. She's talking about October now. So if it is October, then I may end up coming home for Christmas instead.
Yeah. Well, I won't be able to take vacation then, but I'll at least have a few days off, around the holidays.
Yeah.
So let me know once you know, so we can plan accordingly.
Yeah,
we'll definitely do a live episode together when you're down.
We'll have a kung fu fight in celebration for Shang-Chi.
In shirtless.
I don't feel like anybody's going to want to see that.
Oiled up like slick boys.
Ooh, slick boys.
That's what they'll call us.
Slick boys. Ooh,
and we'll fill the pool up with bubbly.
With bubbly.
It's bubbly. It's the only drink allowed by this podcast.
It's true. It's true.
All right, buddy.
All right, man.
Enjoy your vacation.
Yeah, I will, for sure.
We'll talk next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a good one, man.
Okay.
Have a good week, everybody. Peace.
Thanks for joining us.